December 2nd, 2025. I'm just gonna read the post I just made on Tumblr, because it goes on YouTube too. You could write an entire fucking essay on everything going on with Martha Wells, a white woman from Texas, making Mensah, her black slave owner OC, the president of an entire goddamn planet, purely to give her the privileges of being the president of an entire goddamn planet, but none of the responsibilities, such as, making slavery illegal on the planet she's the literal president of? Martha Wells is literally trying to depoliticize being the president of an entire planet. Martha Wells does not want you to question why the fuck Mensah didn't do a single thing to make slavery illegal on her planet. She doesn't want you to question exactly what fucking platform Mensah ran on to be elected on a planet filled with slave owners whose entire economy is run entirely on slave labor. We're never given a hint about if it was difficult for her to get elected, or what kind of people she ran against, or what their platforms were. Martha Wells does not want us to think about what being president of an entire goddamn planet means politically in universe. She literally wants to depoliticize being the president of an entire planet. Unprecedented levels of power in our world, and in her slavery propaganda story, she wants you to forget that that was even a thing, except for when it means Mensah's cool and badass and competent. Ignore the questions of what exactly she promised her slave-owning voter base in order to get elected. Ignore the questions of what exactly her goals were in running for president. Ignore the question of why didn't she ever lift a finger to outlaw slavery on this planet? Ignore the question of if she was hypothetically trying to outlaw slavery, why is she still alive on a planet whose literal entire economy is run on slave labor? Ignore the politics of someone being elected president of an entire planet whose whole entire economy is based 100% on slave labor. Martha Wells doesn't want you to think about politics or slavery. She just wants you to think her slave-owning OC is the coolest ever, and it's totally okay that she's a slave owner because Martha Wells, a white woman from Texas, made her black, and thinks this somehow cancels out the inherent white supremacist anti-blackness of being pro-slavery, instead of making it even worse by now trying to blame black people for enslaving themselves. It's the racist cry of, but what about black on black crime that conservatives love to crow about so much whenever you bring up racism in America. And then she has the gall to get up on actual stages and give actual speeches about how she wrote such a serious, deathly serious story about bodily autonomy, so if you think her story is silly or lighthearted, you're willfully ignorant. Except she's a fucking liar, because she wrote the series to be lighthearted fun on purpose, because she doesn't actually want you to think about the uncountable numbers of abuses and crimes committed against slaves in general in this series, and Murderbot itself, even in just book 1 alone. She doesn't actually want you to think about everything that comes along with being the president of an entire planet whose population has had slavery institutionalized since its very inception, with the entire economy and, oh, they don't know what money is, it's a socialist utopia, built on the backs of the people they've enslaved. Martha Wells made her black slave owner OC the president of an entire fucking planet of slave owners, and doesn't want you to think about what this means about this planet or this character that she got elected, and then never lifted a finger to outlaw slavery. She's literally trying to depoliticize politics and all of the power and responsibility that comes with being a president, not even just of a single country, but an entire fucking planet. We're supposed to just pretend that Mensah is a poor, helpless, hapless goody two-shoes who just didn't know slavery was wrong when she enslaved Murderbot, because how was I supposed to know you were a person? We thought you were just a robot! Honest! Even though they've been enslaving robots on the planet she's the president of for hundreds of years now, and they claim to see them as people and claim to treat them as such. Anyways, staring directly into the camera, you think this tells us something about Martha Wells and her views on politics and anti-blackness and slavery? I can't stress it enough. She made her OC the president of an entire planet, expects us to think that this makes her cool, and then also expects us to never think about anything that this actually means politically about this character, her political views and promises, her friends, her voters, and the political climate of this whole planet, whose entire economy, where any person, asterisk, can have anything they want for free. Footnote. Robots and cyborgs with prosthetics past a certain threshold are not considered people. They are property. Is based on slave labor. She's trying to depoliticize politics and pretend that people with all the power in the literal world are actually just helpless bystanders who can't and shouldn't be expected to even try to help oppressed people. Because she's a white woman from Texas, and in 2025 she wrote a short story telling us to worship disgustingly rich academics who are literally walking past people being led to genocide without even thinking about wanting to help them. And in that same month in 2025, published a short story in the same universe that's blatant anti-abortion propaganda, shaming people for wanting abortions because don't you know some people would kill to be able to get pregnant? You're so lucky you were impregnated against your will. It's so selfish to want an abortion. Being upset with an unwanted pregnancy is as ridiculous as being upset with your spleen. It's part of you now, and you just have to accept it. That's the end of the post. I wish I was fucking joking. She literally did this shit in 2025. So anybody who's still pretending that she's anything other than a reactionary conservative who's literally just tokenizing every minority she can get her fucking hands on to take our goddamn money, you're just kidding yourselves at this point.